sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball from downtown St. Louis. It's a day game. And this afternoon from Busch Stadium, game number 3 is the Chicago Cubs look for a sweep over the St. Louis Cardinals. The importance of this game, the Cardinals lead the division by 4.5 over Pittsburgh. Watch out, here come the Cubs, 6.5 games behind St. Louis. With Jim Hayes, Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. We started game 2 by saying, well, this is a very important game. Now we start game 3 by saying, this is a very important game.
Yeah, well, kind of redundant, huh? Last night the Cardinals depended on Michael Wacha, couldn't get the job done. They rely on Carlos Martinez this afternoon. And the one thing to keep in mind is one. They beat the Pirates 1 game of their 3-game series, and they need this one today. Big, large.
Carlos Martinez, John Lester, good matchup here in game number 3. It's day baseball. A closer look at the Cardinals facing pitchers when we come back. Stands out on the negative side, what they've done against the opposition's pitcher. Interesting number here, second from the bottom of the National League, retiring the pitcher, 176 the average. And in the last 3 games, it has manifested itself with not just base hits from the opposition's pitcher, but RBIs. Garrett Cole and Danny Herron did it on Labor Day against Tyler Lyons and the Cardinals. And then last night, it was Jason Hamill with a base hit against Michael Wacha up the middle. This would score a run, and the Cubs have taken the first 2 in this series. Today, it's John Lester hitting .020 on the year. The banks of the Mississippi, beautiful downtown St. Louis. Cards and Cubs Day Baseball next. Is getting set for Game 3. Baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Make a plan to make it home. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealers for great prices on our all-new 2015 vehicles today. Along with Jim Hayes and Tim McCarver, Dan McLaughlin with you, our entire Fox Sports Midwest crew. A muggy afternoon, 78 degrees here in the Gateway City. And we're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. A look at the Cubs lineup for Joe Madden here in game number 3. The switch hitting Dexter Fowler, followed by Kyle Schwarber. Then Chris Coghlan here in the first. Anthony Rizzo has had a big series. Tommy La Stella, Javier Baez, David Ross, John Lester, the pitcher batting 8th. And Addison Russell is batting 9th. And on the bench, it's Barry and Montero from the left side. Herrera, the switch hitter. Bryant, Castro, Jackson, DeNorfia, and Caesar from the right side. Carlos Martinez at start number 26 here today.
I'll tell you what Mike Matheny looks for out of Martinez. When he falls off after his delivery too much toward first base, that's not good. But that delivery right there was good. The one leg over the other one. But when he falls off the mound to the left, that's what Matheny and pitching coach Derek Lilliquist look for.
Here's the 0-1. Strike 2. More compact delivery.
More compact, right.
Right to the plate. And it's not to say when you fall off to the first base side, there was a guy named Gibson that was pretty good at that.
Oh, yeah. Jim Bunning comes to mind.
Yep.
Some guys can do that, get away with it, feel their position. But Martinez actually has to not try to throw the ball too hard. His natural ability is such that he has such natural movement. He's got to stay compact.
It was almost as if in his previous start after the rest, he was so amped up and so strong, he just wasn't right. He was out of whack.
More than any other Cardinal pitcher, I think.
From 0-2 to a full count on Dexter Fowler. He started this series on Labor Day with a home run off of Lance Lynn.
On a 3-2 count.
Outfield is straight away. And he got him. Went with a changeup on a 3-2.
And not only got Dexter Fowler, that would have gotten anybody. Good changeup from Martinez.
And it brings in Kyle Schwarber, who's hitting .268, 13 home runs, and 38 RBIs. I think it's worth repeating what you've talked about the last two nights. It's quite the statement, but Billy Williams comes to mind when you watch him.
He was the Rookie of the Year in 1961, and I have not seen a guy with as quick a bat since Billy Williams. It's Kyle Schwarber, beg your pardon.
Hits for power, hits for average. He's a catcher by trade, but they're playing him in the outfield to get his bat in the lineup. 0-2.
Last night we were talking about it, and in a pinch hitting role, he had a check swing. So we haven't seen a chance to see that quick bat of Schwarber's.
And the 0-2. They were talking in glowing terms, and all of a sudden, oops, pink, little check swing. Martinez is ready with the 1-2 pitch. He got him. 2 down here in the first. The Cardinals defensively in a good face returns to the lineup after a home run yesterday. Randall Grichuk in center field. Stephen Piscotty is in left. Hayward is in right. Reynolds, Peralta, Carpenter, Moss along the infield. Yadier Molina behind the plate.
Great start for Martinez, especially in lieu of the last 2 games. The Cubs scoring 8 runs in the first 3 innings of game 1, 6 runs in the first 2 innings last night.
2 outs, nobody on, and that pitch is taken for a ball by Chris Coghlan. And with the way the offense, the Cardinals offense has been going, almost insurmountable, it feels like.
Yeah.
We know it's not, but this team has been defined by pitching, not offense. Coghlan is 2 for 8 in the series. Taps it foul. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, you can have a team whose pitching goes bad and you can outscore a team. Or if their hitting goes bad, you can outpitch a team. But when both the hitting and the pitching go bad, that's what's happened to the Cardinals over the last 6 games. And
a base hit into right with 2 outs off the bat of Coghlan. And we will see Anthony Rizzo here in the first inning. A look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal for Carlos Martinez. The outstanding fastball, good breaking pitch, and a changeup that's been really good against lefties. He has worked on that changeup with Pedro Martinez, the Hall of Famer now, nicknamed Little Pedro. It's a lot of pressure to put on a young pitcher, but he has worked on that changeup with Pedro Martinez in November of the last 2 years. 53 of the 87 RBIs for Anthony Rizzo have come on the road. That's tops in Major League Baseball. Outfield is deep. In on the hands of Rizzo, and that's where the Cardinals have been trying to pitch him all series long. Well, you have to have quick hands when you stand that closely to the plate, because you know you're inviting pitches inside. Everybody thinking, well, I can get it in there. Well, so far this year, he is a candidate for the MVP in the National League, standing close to the plate. And deep in the box, and that pitch fouled back, strike 2. Yeah, you can't stand. That's a good point, Dan, because you can't stand close to the plate and stand up in the box. If you're going to stand up in the box, you got to stand far away from the plate. That 6 inches can be the thing that gets you out of the 60 feet, 6 inches, that is. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Will it be a changeup? It is, and it's hit out of play. From a catcher's perspective, Tim, how close do you have to pay attention to what a hitter is doing pitch by pitch in terms of where their feet are positioned? Some guys do change pitch from pitch. Not many, but some. I don't think
Rizzo does. You may change the grip on the bat with 2 strikes or something like that.
See, Molina looks in to check with Mike Matheny on the running game, then delivers the signs to the pitcher. The 0-2.
Rule of thumb, if a hitter stands away from the plate, he likes it away. He invites you to try to get it by him. If he stands on top of the plate, he likes the ball inside. Rule of thumb.
Where did you stand?
About medium. Most guys do, but some guys are unusual in being very good standing close to the plate, but you have to have quick hands when you do that.
I mean, Rizzo is just daring you to pitch him inside.
That's right.
And that's driven into right center field. Carpenter has to go way out to get the cut from Grichuk, who flips it to Hayward. Carpenter to second base. Run does score, and Rizzo is in a rundown between second and third. No one is there. Martinez can't get there. He's safe. Everything goes wrong on that play for St. Louis.
Let me count the ways. The first is Randall Grichuk underhands it to Jason Heyward. Randall Grichuk, a center fielder who could not throw the ball. His arm's sore. Lateraling it to Heyward. That allows COGHLAN a chance to score. And now nobody is behind. I understand Carlos Martinez is backing up home. He can't get to third in time. Good base running by Rizzo. Randall Grichuk, you had words with him about that very thing before the game.
Yeah, he said it's going to be difficult for him to throw. Easy throws with base hits. In terms of just the routine single would be no problem, but they have instructed both Peralta and Carpenter to go way out into center field, which Carpenter did do there.
Yeah, and in that particular case, Heyward was the closest guy with the best arm.
What an odd play that was.
Boy.
So an RBI double for Rizzo, number 88 on the year. 1-0 Chicago, and it's Tommy La Stella at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's how desperate the Cardinals are to get a bat in the lineup. Having a guy start in center field who can't throw.
And a fly ball lifted out to deep left field. Piscotty is back over his head. 1 hop off the wall, then over the wall. Ground rule double. 2-0 Chicago.
This game started so glowingly for Martinez, looking sharp. 3-2 changeup to Fowler to get him. Schwarber on a fastball away. 2 strikeouts. And then a single by COGHLAN. A double by Rizzo. Going to third on the play. And now a double by La Stella. So the Cubs so far in the first 3 innings have scored 16 runs in the first 3 games of this series. Man.
And now Javier Baez. And time is called. Let's go back to the play on the relay that eventually allowed Rizzo to get to third base. Ideally, how do you shift with the defense? Who should have been there backing up on the rundown?
Well, the first thing you want to do is you cut down COGHLAN. If you cut down COGHLAN, or at least throw home to get him to go back to third, you don't have that play. Rizzo kind of inadvertently, it was not a good base running play, but he ended up in fine fettle by ending up at third base. But it started with the shovel pass from Grichuk to Heyward.
Here's Javier Baez, couple of doubles in game 2 last night, and another start in this series. He's at third base. So again, the Cardinals have to play catch up. As you mentioned, a great start to begin this game. Back-to-back strikeouts. Martinez sharp, and then 3 consecutive hits. Single by COGHLAN, double by Rizzo, right center. La Stella, the ground rule double in left and RBI.
Yeah, you fans will see him in the bottom of the first. We have 2 opponents facing one another today who can't throw to a base. Grichuk or John Lester, the pitcher for the Cubs. How odd is that?
Yes. 0-2. Strikes out the side. but gives up a couple of first inning runs. Rizzo caught in the rundown, and it paid off. Sloppy here in the first. 2-0 Chicago. Two to nothing Chicago here in the bottom of the first as Matt Carpenter will lead it off. And again, the Cardinals trailing against the Cubs here at home. Carpenter, Piscotty, and Hayward, followed by Peralta, Grichuk, Molina, Moss, Reynolds, Martinez. On the bench for St. Louis, Wong, Stanley, Adams, Jay, and Garcia. Peter Borges, Cosma, Cruz, and Pham from the right side. John Lester, a record of 9-10, first year of a long-term deal with the Chicago Cubs.
We'll talk about Lester's inability to throw the ball to any base. It's a mental thing. But I'll tell you, it's worth considering if you're Mike Matheny to go ahead and switch Grichuk to left field now and put Hayward in center and Piscotty in right. There's less damage that can be caused by Grichuk defensively by playing left field as opposed to center field.
And if there are any questions on the Cubs end of things, now they're done. I mean, you know, you can take the extra base.
Any single to center field that would be a single is going to be turned into a double.
Here is Matt Carpenter hitting .258, 21 home runs. He's driven in 71. The Cardinals, you may recall, Tim, had a similar issue like this when Albert Pujols, it was 2002, 2003, around that time. They obviously wanted to keep his bat in the lineup. He was not playing first base every day at that point in his career. He was an outfielder and third baseman. And they put him in left field and basically told Edgar Renteria and Jim Edmonds to go over and do what we saw that Hayward did. But that's in left, and it's not in center.
It's easier to patrol in left than it is center field. It's not that Grichuk can't track down a ground ball, a fly ball to left or right center. He just can't throw when he catches it. So less damage again would be done in left, it seems to us.
1-1 is driven into right center field. Extra bases again for Carpenter. That one goes all the way to the wall. Thinking three. On his way to third. Leadoff triple, Matt Carpenter. And where is John Lester on that play?
I was thinking the same thing. John Lester should have been backing up third. There was no other place for him to go on the field. And who comes in alertly to try to back up third but Kyle Schwarber, the left fielder, who's normally a catcher. What kind of game is this?
What's going on out here?
What is going on here?
Tell him, Tim, this is the big leagues.
This is a big league. Stan Musial, when he'd see play like this, he'd say, this is the big leagues?
Here's Piscotty. In baseball, such a crazy game. The Cardinals own a record of 87-51, and if you've watched them the last 3-4 games, you'd say absolutely not, no way.
Losers of 5 of 6. It shows you how big that win against Pittsburgh was on Saturday night.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Piscotty. To further your point about John Lester, and I'm sure we're going to see this develop throughout the game. We'll talk about it. His inability to pick anybody off or even throw over to first. It's now a mental issue with him. There's also issues with him fielding the ball too. So bunting could be a key aspect of this game.
Well, with the bunt, he's got to throw the ball to first base. Bunt it right back to him. Whether for a base hit or a sacrifice. Either one.
Here's an 0-2. Strikeout of Piscotty. Hyundai pitch arsenal with John Lester. You always hear about the great cutter that he possesses.
Throws it both inside and outside to right-handers and left-handers. He can backdoor it, front door it. By far his best pitch.
And now Hayward with Johnny Peralta on deck. 2-0 Chicago here in the home half of the first. First pitch to Hayward is taken for a ball.
That's how he's going to try to get Jason Hayward out. Jason Hayward, more than any other left-hander, has to think left field right now. That cutter's going to be away until perhaps he gets 2 strikes on him.
Outfield in center and in left fairly shallow. 2 balls, no strikes. The Cardinals, last time they saw Lester, they were taking literally 10, 12, 15-foot leads. And Carpenter is way off the line at third base. Ball scoots away. He scores easily. Trying to go the other way. 2-1 the count. The Cubs defensively with Schwarber, the catcher, in left field. Fowler in center. Coghlan is in right. Baez, Russell, LaStella, Rizzo on the infield. Ross behind the plate. And that's presented by Dobbs. The 2-1. 2-2.
4 straight cut fastballs on the outside part of the plate. 2 have missed, 2 have caught. Vital to get this run in.
Two. Out of play. More of a defensive swing or just trying to put it in play.
That was a weird pitch from Lester. Sometimes guys don't grip the cutter properly, and you get kind of a funky little, looks like a half curve, half cutter. Really a mistake he got away with.
The 2-2. Hayward hits it up the middle. Base hit. Cardinals get on the board. Hayward with RBI number 51 as Carpenter scores, and it's 2-1.
Key base hit. Really a good approach by Jason Hayward. Left field up the middle. Tough pitch. Cardinals played a run, and the reason they did, you watch John Lester kind of caught in no man's land. There's only one place he should be, and that's behind third base. But he didn't think Carpenter was going to try to go to third. And Kyle Schwarber coming in all the way from left field to be the backup man. Can't happen.
Runner goes, and a throw to second base. Hayward is safe. Avoids the tag. Picks up the stolen base.
Hands went by the bag, and the foot caught it to keep him on the bag.
Stolen base number 21 for Jason Hayward.
That right hand sliding over the bag. Watch. Right there. Now he tries to grab it with his left hand. Ooh, I'll tell you. If the Cubs reviewed that, I think they'd have a point. Because the tag by Russell was on him all the time. I think the Cubs have a point here. Whatever happened to the just straight slide? You don't see it anymore. Guys going in head first and really out of control when they go into a base. We've seen it a lot of times.
Anytime you look at an old highlight from Lou Brock, it's the feet first slide and going so hard into the bag.
And the bag would lift him up. The old stand-up slide.
But boy, would he go in hard.
Oh, man. Never went in head first. Ricky Henderson, the all-time base stealer, however, always went in hands first. But he never overslid the bag like that. Otherwise, he doesn't get 1,400 and some odd stolen bases.
Crowd is seeing the video board. The umpires are looking at that as well. And as you might expect, mixed reactions.
Yeah, a lot of body parts floating around second base.
It's a hard call. I was talking with Joe Madden before the game, just like you were, and Joe said to me, and the ruling is safe, so stolen base number 21. But he said, our guys right now, he said, it's a different looking club, isn't it, Dan? And I said, well, yeah. I said, you're swinging the bats. He said, our guys are not overwhelmed anymore. You know, those big eyes, the deer in the headlight look of being in awe of the Cardinals. He said that's not the case.
Yeah,
they're growing.
They've grown into the maturity that it takes to play this sport at this level.
Hayward, your runner at second base. Ground ball slowly hit to the right side. Estella over to Rizzo for the out. Hayward advances to third, and there's two down. First time this homestand the Cardinals have scored in the first inning. They've cut the lead to 2-1. And you're going to see the Cardinals, if they get on base against Lester, run wild. And why not?
Matter of fact, Jason Hayward can take a bigger lead. BAEZ is back. You got a right-handed hitter up there, so there's no real threat for Ross to throw behind the runner. Lester has 8 wild pitches this year.
Swung on and missed by Grichuk, who homered and struck out in the same inning yesterday. It's the 42nd stolen base against Lester when he's on the mound this season.
Most in the major leagues. 50 attempts against him. Also most in the major leagues.
The pitcher who's allowed the most stolen bases in one season, the great Dwight Gooden, 1990, he allowed 60. The 42 allowed by Lester, most ever in Cubs history. Here's the 0-2. On the outside corner and a strikeout of Grichuk. Cardinals strand a runner at third, but they pick up an RBI base hit by Jason Hayward. 2-1 after an inning of play. control. Next day, you're running circles around each other. There is Jason Hayward, who has singled and picked up an RBI. And let's turn to Tim's Toyota keys to the game.
Last night, we talked about it in the opening. Last night, the Cardinals depended on Wacha. Today, they're dependent on Carlos Martinez. And against Lester, get on and take off. That's what Jason Hayward did on the first pitch, stealing second base.
One of my favorites, this is my 18th year doing games with the Cardinals. One of my favorites ever was Larry Walker. He was only here a brief time.
Great guy. Terrific player.
And he just texted me, isn't baseball grand? One day, team is on cruise control. You're breezing through everyone. Next day, team is spinning in circles trying to get back on the road. Crazy game.
Oh, man.
That sums it up.
We'll leave it to Larry Walker to sum it up exactly right. This is the wildest first inning or the strangest first inning we've had all year.
Ross, Lester, and Russell for Chicago. And a ground ball hit left side, taken there by Mark Reynolds. One away. And to think how this game started, too. Martinez just cruising through the first two hitters.
2 strikeouts. Overwhelming batters 1 and 2.
So here's John Lester, who is 0 for 20. Or rather, 0-20 is his average. And let me give you the numbers on what John has done at the plate.
Not good.
No, sir. It's been a tough year for him at the plate, to say the least. 49 at bats, 1 hit.
He got that 1 hit off John Lackey on July 6th, and he got a standing ovation from the Cub faithful.
And he did that against John Lackey, his good friend.
Teammates in Boston.
2 balls, 1 strike. Talked about in the open, the Cardinals second from the bottom in retiring the opposing pitcher. For whatever reason, they've had some issues there. 3-1. How many times have you been behind the plate, Tim, knowing you have a situation like this and your pitcher cannot throw a strike? Saying that the guy cannot hit. Can't hit. Or can he? Base hit. His second of this year. John Lester with a base hit into left. You got to be kidding me.
Casey Stengel, the manager of a team that lost 120 games in 1962, was famous for the statement, "Can anybody here play this game?" That season ended on a triple play by the Mets. They lost their 120th. And Casey held a meeting after the game, and he said, "Boys, I want you all to know that this was a team effort because no single individual can wreak this much havoc."
Fastball at his strike to Addison Russell.
Can anybody here play this game?
What a crazy, 15 minutes or so we've had?
This is not a game, it's at least starting out, not a game for purists.
Man. 0-2. First baseman today for the Cardinals is Brandon Moss. He's playing behind Lester. Off the end of the bat, popped up on an 0-2 pitch, and Carpenter won't get there. Off his glove. Lester in safely at second base. 0-2 pitches. You talked about it last night. Sometimes they're too good. Maybe that one was there.
We use the word epidemic occasionally, and that seems to be one of the epidemics of 2015. 0-2 pitches by pitchers. They get impatient. They want to finish off a hitter too quickly instead of teasing him. If, for instance, that slider was about 3 more inches outside, you might get a swing and a miss, like you did from BAEZ in the first inning to end the first inning.
Dexter Fowler with 2 on, 1 out. Give Lester credit too. Obviously not on base hardly at all, if ever, in his major league career. That ball was nearly caught by Carpenter. Carpenter, the presence of mind to get it quickly and have a play at second base. Fowler struck out back in the first. He was called out on strikes. The 1-1. Up the middle. That's a base hit. Richard can't throw. Lester can't really run. Doesn't matter. And the Cubs, knowing that, also take third base easily.
I'll tell you, you're Mike Matheny. You got to either make a move and get him out of center field or take him out of the game. One of the two. It costs you nothing to move him to left field. Nothing. Doesn't cost you a player. Not only does Lester score, but Russell easily to third base. And if Grichuk is throwing anywhere near up to his performance, no way does Lester score or Russell go to third.
So 1 out, runners at the corners, and it brings in Kyle Schwarber. Three to 1 Chicago. Already 6 hits against Martinez. Schwarber struck out first time up. The Cubs, you just get a feeling right now, Tim, the blood is in the water. I mean, they are aggressive.
No question. That's a great term and perfectly used.
And the Cardinals playing.
A great statement. It's a question.
You know, say back on their heels, but clearly not much clicking right now with their starters. The Cubs swinging the bats so well in this series.
As well as they can.
The 2-0 pitch.
Randall Grichuk toward left center field. I think Kyle Schwarber, especially ahead in the count, is more of a pull hitter. With that bat speed, you don't hit a lot of balls to left field.
The 2-1. Extended check on the runner at first. Fowler, threat to steal.
We talked about the bat speed of Schwarber, and you would think that with that kind of bat speed, he's more apt to pull the ball, and yet the biggest gap is right center field for him.
Two-1. Further your point, Tim, there's a breaking ball.
Yeah.
Coming into him. He's going to pull that.
That's right.
Evens it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Schwarber playing in game number 50 of his big league career. And already with 13 home runs. Martinez already at 44 pitches. 13-game winner this year, an all-star, first year in the rotation for St. Louis. The 2-2. Strikeout number 4.
Boy, Martinez aired that one out. Best fastball he's thrown in last 2 starts, it seems like.
Here's Chris Coghlan, single to right field. after Martinez has struck out the first two in the first inning. Runners at first and third. Ball one. Coghlan, an injury play career, but he's played in the most games of any Cubs player this season. 2 balls and no strikes. See a little bit with the body language of Martinez, his frustration starting to mount. Falling behind here, 2-0. Rizzo on deck. Went with a 2-0 changeup and got the call. Vic Carapazza is our home plate umpire, and this is a pretty big zone early on. Just feel how this crowd is too. A little bit restless.
With good reason. It's disturbing if you're a Cardinal fan.
Three-one pitch. Ground ball pulled foul and sounded like a broken bat as Coghlan checks it, and it is. 25 pitches in the first inning for Carlos Martinez, 25 here in the second. 3-2 the count on Coghlan. Martinez trying to pick up strikeout number 5. And he gets it. Cubs strand 2. Pick up another. It's 3-1 Chicago.
Dan, when Matt Adams had surgery on his right quad back in May 29th, there weren't too many people that thought he would make it back this season. But here he is. Adams activated from the 60-day DL today. Mike Matheny says he'll be a pinch hitter for the time being. Adams told me he's been swinging the bat without any problem for weeks now. He says he still has some hurdles to clear in terms of playing first base and making certain lateral movements, but Dan, Adams feels like he can have an impact with the bat right away, and he just can't wait for the chance.
Talked to Matt in the clubhouse today, too, Jimmy. He said he was facing that live pitching from Matt Belisle. I said, how did Belisle look? He said, nasty. He said, much better than the last time I faced him, and Matt Belisle is, as you know, Jim, very close to returning.
Yeah, Belisle says he's good to go, and right now he's waiting for John Mozeliak and Mike Matheny to determine what's best for the roster and what's best for the team. But he feels like he's good to go.
So those are the words of Matt Adams, both of us speaking with him today. There's a look at Matt Belisle. And a 2-0 pitch to Yadier Molina, showing bunt, and looks at a strike. You know, going back, Tim, to that first inning, after the Hayward steal of second base, 1 out, Peralta up, he swings at the first pitch. You wonder if he's better off, and he grounded out softly to second, giving Hayward an opportunity to steal third.
Yeah. Good point. I mean, with a guy like Peralta, though, he's a guy who can pop a home run. You got to give him every chance to swing at what he wants to, instead of hampering him by taking a pitch with a guy on second. I know it's an unusual situation. 50-50, that's what I'd say.
Molina flies to right, brings in Brandon Moss.
At the time, Hayward represents a tying run, so swinging at the first pitch could be, you know, a guy driving a ball and driving Hayward in instead of him allowing him to move to third. But it's certainly a point worth considering.
We saw John Lester in the World Series of 2013, and he was dominant against the Cardinals. Both games he went 7 2/3. Total of 9 hits allowed. 1 earned run, that was it. And a Holiday solo home run in the 4th of Game 5. We saw Lester on opening night at Wrigley Field. That's really when his issues of throwing to first base were exposed in front of a national audience, as the Red Sox kept that very quiet about his issues that he's had.
So did Oakland for 2 months. Less of a problem there because his stay wasn't that long.
The 0-2 off the glove of Lester, taken there by Addison Russell, and he slings it over to Rizzo for out number 2. Now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo using the hashtag MWDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Well, Dan, now that you're talking about postseason play, what if Lester completes the 8th inning against the Kansas City Royals, a team that won 8 straight postseason games, and that was the first one? It might have been Oakland that would have gotten. That's the beauty in baseball, if you can call it that, of that 1-game playoff. Excruciating pressure.
And the point is, take yourself out of that equation, win the division, period.
That's right.
That's the reward, if you will.
That's a dilemma right now, fading from the Cardinals, but still a 4-game lead, 4.5 against Pittsburgh, but 4 in the loss column, 6 in the loss column to the Cubs.
The 1-1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Reynolds did the same thing last night.
He did. Last at bat, too. Hammering one off his left foot. Kind of a split double header on that left foot.
Ouch.
Yeah. A devilish cutter from Lester.
And the 1-2. Went right back to that same spot. 236, 12 home runs. He's driven in 44, hitless in this series. Big gap in left center. The 2-2. Hits it the other way. Fly ball. And out of play. Cubs go to Philly first of 4 tomorrow night. Off day on Monday. Then 3 with Pittsburgh. Before heading back home at Wrigley Field, they'll see the Cardinals next weekend. On the inside corner, 3-2. Cardinals will head to Cincinnati after the ball game today. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball hit to third. Taken by BAEZ. And the Cardinals go in order in the home half of the second. 3-1 Cubs. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Jack in the Box. The Cardinals throw 9 strikeouts, get a free monster taco with any purchase tomorrow at Jack in the Box. It's inside Ballpark Village and Fox Sports Midwest Live. Anthony Rizzo to start play here in the third. First pitch in the dirt. You know, we were talking between innings about the situation here with Grichuk, and we had even addressed it last night if and when he came back into the lineup.
You said that last night, right?
Exactly. That, you know, when you look at it, it just makes sense that you'd have Grichuk at a corner position, more likely left field than right.
Right.
Certainly.
Because less damage would be done when you don't throw from left field than from center field. Plus, the ground you have to cover may put you in an untenable position of not being able to throw at all if you have to go to left center or right center.
I thought the point that you made, too, who knows, with Grichuk's speed, he maybe makes that catch in deep left field. As Carpenter makes the play on the outfield grass, and Rizzo is retired.
Well, that, you know, that play just conjures up so many options. I mean, if, say, Hayward's playing center field, well, COGHLAN doesn't have a chance to score, so the Cubs have second and third, and maybe with Grichuk's speed, he catches the ball, hit over Piscotty's head to make the third out, and the Cubs don't score.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't help but think about all these things when something that dramatically bad happens.
It also screams of a desperate offense looking for a little help. Mm-hmm. Putting Grichuk in a tough spot, unable to throw and play center field. 1 ball, 1 strike on Tommy La Stella. Hammers that foul. The 1-2 just got a piece. LaStella came from the Braves for a minor leaguer and 3 international signing bonus slots, which can be traded now. Teams have gotten very creative with that. Reynolds will give it a look, and it's going to bounce out of play.
You talked the other night about Randy Flores, who comes in as a head of scouting for the Cardinals, going back to USC to get his master's. I'll tell you, to keep up with all the moves that are made now, you have to have at least a master's degree. I mean, it's the most confusing stuff for a peon like me. Gosh.
And a high fly ball into right field. Hayward 2 down. And think about the amount of time and travel and effort it takes to find the diamonds in the rough. I mean, that is a thankless position in many ways. 6 is a serious number and on the run. Cardinals scores 6. Any size drink, just 50 cents the next day. That's coffee fountain, frozen drinks. When they score, you pour at your nearest on the run. You earned it.
And that tough job of scouting. There's John Mozeliak realizing everything is true along those lines. But it just didn't happen. I mean, 20 years ago, Mike Piazza was taking, what, 1,432 players ahead of him. And now there's talk of him going in the Hall of Fame, and probably deserves it if he could get away from that tag of potential PEDs used.
Jeff Bagwell, same cloud hangs over him.
Yeah.
The numbers are there.
Mm-hmm.
Without question. Ground ball off the glove of Peralta into shallow center field. So base hit for Baez, who's 1 for 2.
If that ball gets through, Baez goes to second base.
And if he doesn't, he's certainly thinking about it with a long, hard turn around first.
Sure. Johnny Peralta flagged it down enough to where it didn't trickle out to center field, where no play would have been made on it. See, the whole thing about Grichuk starting in center field is most of the balls are going to be hit to center field. Center fielder has many more plays than either left or right. That's why, as we said, it would make more sense to play Grichuk in left field, because he can do less damage out there than he would in center. And so far, that's been the case.
David Ross with 2 outs and a runner at first. Base hit out to left. Baez rounding second base. And here come the Cubs again with 2 outs, doing some damage. Runners at the corners, 2 down, and it brings in John Lester. Lester singled to left and came and scored on the 1-out base hit by Dexter Fowler. That made it 3-1 Cubs in the second inning.
Always a possibility of a bunt in a situation like this. I mean, Lester got a hit, only his second major league hit, his first time up. Could be a safety squeeze. Madden loves that play. I beg your pardon, there are 2 outs. I was dead wrong.
Lester lines to short.
Sorry, partner. Thanks for the pickup.
You got it. Catch made by Peralta. Midway through 3. Cubs on top. So again, the importance of this game: Pittsburgh 4.5 back, Chicago 6.5 games out. Miserable seasons for Milwaukee and Cincinnati. And again, the Cardinals first to 4 beginning tomorrow on Fox Sports Midwest. Rick Horton, Al Raboski will have the coverage for you beginning at 5:30 from Cincinnati tomorrow night. Martinez, Carpenter, Piscotty. Cardinals have been out hitting this game already 8-2. Now, we've talked about the issues that John Lester has had in terms of throwing to first base and the pickoffs. However, he is so good on the mound, sometimes that gets overshadowed just how well he pitches. He is tough.
Well, with the things that he can't do, he's got to be exceptional in the things he can do, and that's pitch.
2 balls, no strikes on Carlos Martinez. The 2-0. 3-0. Carpenter on deck, who tripled to start things off for St. Louis and has scored their only run.
I think if you're Martinez, you take 2 pitches.
John Lester, great story in terms of beating cancer, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars in the fight against cancer, along with his teammate Anthony Rizzo. Hard not to pull for those type of players. 3-2. May have chased the ball. Lester will tag out Martinez.
Another 3 steps, and Lester would have had to make a throw to first base. The easiest of the throws, an underhand throw. But who knows what might have happened.
Numbers inside the running game for John Lester: 42 stolen bases allowed, no pickoffs. He's had 2 errors. The Cubs were telling us they believe he's thrown over 3 times, committed 2 errors. He has 14 assists, near the bottom of Major League Baseball. Baez is in on the grass at third, and the first pitch taken for a ball by Matt Carpenter.
Well, for most of the reporters that cover the Cubs, it, for the most part, for whatever reason, has become more of a moot point. But I'll guarantee it won't be moot when they get in the postseason. That is all they'll write about when Lester pitches. And that's a type of pressure that I don't think John has ever dealt with.
Even in Boston?
Even in Boston. The Red Sox hit it for years. For all the years he was there. I don't remember any story coming out in the Boston press about his inability to throw to any bases.
Yeah, my understanding was in Boston they would put him on the backfields in spring training.
Yeah.
Well before media would arrive. Similar to what the Cardinals did with Rick Ankiel when he was trying to get over his wildness.
Yeah, I mean, show me the organization that does not try to hide problems like that. But it's a useless battle. You're not going to hide from the national press.
And he did go. 1-2 the count. Everything magnified, every pitch is talked about, every game, the next day's starter.
Sure.
You know it quite well.
So do the Cardinals. In the postseason for 11 of the last 15 years. Just unmatched.
On the outside corner. Strikeout number 3 for John Lester. Most popular way to follow the Cardinals' push to the postseason is with MLB.com at bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, and more. MLB.com at bat right now. Third strikeout for John Lester brings in Stephen Piscotty. Struck out with a runner at third and nobody out back in the first. Average at .329 now with the 4 home runs. He's driven in 28. The cutter getting in on Stephen Piscotty.
Yeah, that's the best example that we've seen of what that cutter is supposed to do. Cut often below the trademark of the bat, causing broken bats, softly hit balls.
Let's explain a cutter too, Tim, because there are some fans out there, they say, well, cutter, what is a cutter?
It cuts. It's like a slider slides, a cutter cuts. Pressure's put on the middle finger, and you actually cut the ball. The difference between a cutter and a slider is with a slider, there's a spin on the ball, either a dime spin or a quarter spin, depending on how tightly it's wrapped. The cutter, you actually cut through the ball with the middle finger. There's less pressure on the index finger, and that causes the ball, it's a rule of physics, causes the ball to slide, but more than sliding, it cuts.
2-2 pitch.
Hope that was explained properly.
Yep. So on a right-hander, you could see you start your swing, and all of a sudden there's that late cut in on your hands.
The later the better of any break on any ball. Movement with the fastball doesn't have to be a breaking ball. The later the movement, the more effective the pitch.
A 3-2 pitch to Stephen Piscotty.
Reason for that is hitters pick it up about halfway, and they determine where the ball's going to go. And in essence, the ball doesn't go where they think that, where their eyes and mind tell their hands that it's going to go. That's the deception with the pitch.
3-2 is bounce left side. BAEZ, nice soft hands on that play. Takes a hit away from Stephen Piscotty. That's 8 in a row set down by John Lester. Try the new barbecue pulled pork sandwich at McDonald's for a limited time only. Addison Russell will lead it off, followed by Fowler and Schwarber. Reminder that Saturday MLB on Fox returns as the Cardinals take on the Reds. Then the Tigers and Indians square off in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. Coverage begins at 11:30 in the morning on Fox, and 6 Fox Sports 1 streaming live, Fox Sports Go. There's strike one. We're underway here in the top of the 4th. Addison Russell with a single to center field. First time up. Jay Happ will get the call tonight for the Pittsburgh Pirates as they wrap up their series in Cincinnati. Slowly hit on an 0-2 pitch. Again, it's a base hit. That is 9 hits today for the Cubs.
Now, there's nothing you can do about that. Totally fooled on the ball. 60 feet down the third base line.
Now Fowler, 3-1 Chicago. Picked up 2 runs in the first. Cardinals scored in the bottom half. The Cubs with a run in the second. That's where we stand right now. Russell is your runner at first base. 2 stolen bases this year. And there's strike one. I've always said this, when you don't hit, we were talking about this during the break, and you don't produce offense especially, you look flat. It's just always the case.
Sure.
The last 2 games have been ugly losses for the Cardinals. Game 3 isn't much better. Infield hit, now an error, and a runner in scoring position.
Martinez livid because this bad throw, an error on Martinez. I mean, usually, and the Cardinals up until a week ago had done this all year. If the pitching wasn't pitching, the offense picked them up. If the offense wasn't hitting, and more than at any other time for any team, if the Cardinal offense, the guys weren't hitting, the pitching would pick them up. But now when both are in disarray, and even fielding as this game has shown, then you have 3 elements, the most important elements.
Popped up. Shading from the sun, it's Peralta for the out.
Most important of, it's how you win, either with fielding, pitching, or hitting.
You know, I'm not sure they would give that air to Martinez, and he is livid, as you said. Slammed down the rosin bag. Throw was at the bag. It did not need to be picked by Moss. It just went off his glove.
But it was on Martinez. Is that right?
I'm thinking it might be on Moss. We haven't gotten the official word yet.
Danny Martinez will take care of that.
So far, the ruling has gone against Martinez.
Now, to keep in mind, Martinez is a pitcher, and what he throws moves.
Yes.
That at least has to be taken into consideration when you have a first baseman trying to catch a ball, and most balls that are thrown to him don't move. That's why often, fairly or not, it's given to the pitcher.
The Cubs are 11 for 30 with runners in scoring position in this series. To counter that, the Cardinals just 5 for 20. 0-2 on Kyle Schwarber. 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. That first out here in the 4th inning could loom large. Fowler could not advance. Russell the third with nobody out. And the 1-2 pitch. The pitch hit 98 on the gun. A little extra on that one. Count runs full. Schwarber steps out of the box. 3-2 the count. Runner at second. And one out here in the top of the fourth. He strikes out for the third time. That's number 6 today for Carlos Martinez. Wouldn't anticipate Martinez going very deep in this game, already at 77 pitches. We're only in the third. And the Cardinals mindful of the innings count, the high leverage innings that he's been pitching in here in this game. Excuse me, in the fourth inning. Two outs, runner at second. And a pitch taken inside by COGHLAN, who has singled to right and scored back in the first inning and struck out in the second. First two hitters, pair of strikeouts for Martinez, and since that time, everything it seems like has been a struggle. Nothing coming easy. Two and one.
It's like COGHLAN was surprised to get a predictable pitch. He gets a 2-0 fastball, doesn't know what to do with it. That's the advantage Martinez and guys like him have when they throw a lot of breaking balls behind in the count.
2-2. Breaking ball, and he struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Martinez, 7 through 4 innings. The Cubs on top 3-1. Cardinals have Hayward to lead it off, followed by Peralta and Grichuk coming up. Jimmy.
Dan Lancelin admits he didn't get much sleep after lasting just 2 1/3 in the series opener, and by much I mean he didn't get any sleep. He wore it. Lance threw a bullpen today in preparation for a start on Saturday in Cincinnati. He told me on the pregame show he's confident he worked through some of the timing issues that plagued him in his last start, Lance was not a fan of being pushed back a few days and believes that was partly responsible for him being out of sync. But Dan Lynn also told me that getting a few extra days may actually help him a few weeks down the road. He says some pitchers don't respond well to having their routine interrupted, but it's pretty easy to get into a new one, Dan.
Well, I guess, Tim, that's the idea. I mean, yeah, the short term has not been pretty for the Cardinals with those that have had rest. But the idea is the long term, where it benefits you maybe in October. And time will tell.
It boils down to whether you want a pitcher tired but effective, 85% perhaps of what he was, maybe 90, or rested and strong, with the shortcoming being that he's out of the strike zone often, or not throwing the ball where he wants to. Might be as stronger than you've ever been at this point in the season, but your control and much of pitching is location and movement. It's a very fine, dicey, borderline thing. And pitchers being the animals that they are, I mean, you know, it's nothing is initiated in the game until he throws the ball. That in itself is a strange psychological phenomenon, I think.
Ground ball off the bat of Hayward, which takes me back to a conversation I had with the great Garrett Stevenson. As part of the
was he the coach at Wichita State?
Pitcher.
Oh, pitcher. Oh, that was his brother.
That was not his brother. But I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah. Was it Stevenson? Gene. That's right. Okay.
Now Garrett, we did an interview with him. We've had a couple of memorable interviews with him, Tim. However, this one, I asked him something along the lines about his next start, and 3 minutes later, we were done with the interview with one question, and it all was based on the fact that I'm the guy. I start it all. All the fans are watching me. My teammates are watching me. The umpire is watching me. I came away understanding that it all begins with the pitcher. And it took me 3 minutes of that interview with Garrett Stevenson to realize it all begins and ends with the pitcher.
And that was the first time that you understood that, or first time you'd interviewed someone who opened that up for you?
No. Tom Mee, our director that day, said he was going to puke as he was listening to the interview. And that's why it was memorable to me. So that was the punchline and the buildup for it. He said, Dan, I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving the truck because I'm going to go puke.
I agree with Tom.
Okay. So it furthers your point about it all starts with the pitcher. It was unbelievable. It was like watching a parody of an interview. However, it was the real thing. All centered on me, the pitcher.
I had no idea where you were going with that, and for good reason, I had no idea where you were going with that. Johnny thought he foul-tipped the ball. Home plate umpire Vic Carapazza didn't think that.
So it's 4 strikeouts today for John Lester. I think cutters, the first thing I think of is Mariano Rivera. Best cutter we've all seen.
Could throw it time and time and time and time again.
And he had such great movement and was able to place it and throw hard.
Late movement. That's the important thing about Mariano. I mean, he was so effective that they used to keep track of broken bats in New York with Rivera. Unbelievable amounts of broken bats for outs. Rarely a hit. Little things that went to the infield where infielders used to have to charge a pop fly.
I think Luis Gonzalez getting that cutter, and again a pitch that's in, and a little broken bat floater that goes over the shortstop's head to win the World Series.
Drawn in infield. Derek Jeter.
held on to by Ross, and Lester strikes out 2. We head to the 5th. We miss you, Garrett Stevenson. We miss you. All right, guys, thanks. Looking forward to the post-game show. The Cubs with a 3-1 lead as we play in inning number 5. Day baseball here at Busch Stadium. Tim telling me how much he enjoyed my story, and I appreciate that.
Just riveting.
It was.
So,
well, the interview was
it just
too.
lacked so much human interest.
Oh, it really lacked a lot, like everything. But Tommy loved that Garrett Stevenson, our director. 2-0 on Anthony Rizzo.
That story will probably deserve a reverse Emmy. That's when you get the Emmy with his rear end turned toward you.
Hey, 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 hey. Line drive into center. There's Grichuk. Rizzo is 1 for 3. DraftKings players to watch. And the young players making a name for themselves. Randall Grichuk, Stephen Piscotty. Highest slugging percentage among Major League rookies. At least 150 at bats. Head to DraftKings.com. Enter the promo code CARDS. Tommy LaStella.
Game like this can often get my partner and me talking about movies during the break. We were talking about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the great performance by Jack Nicholson. Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratched. And one of the great movie stars of our time of 50 years ago was Jack Palance. Jack Palance was from he's deceased now, but he won 1 Oscar in City Slickers. He was nominated for 3 others, one of which was Shane, perhaps with Alan Ladd. Somebody saw out there. Jack Palance from Hazleton, the same hometown as Joe Madden. And I asked Joe before the game, I said, did your family ever cater to Jack Palance? Did you know him? Did you know his family? His real name was Polanski. And Joe said, my father was his plumber.
It's amazing.
Can you believe it?
It's amazing.
My father was his plumber. The great Jack Palance.
Joe's mother worked in a restaurant for so many years. And Joe now owns a couple of restaurants in Tampa, but he was telling us too that after he started making a pretty good amount of money in the major leagues, and it took him a long time to get here, he told his mom, go ahead and retire. You don't need to be doing this anymore.
She was the waitress at the Home Plate
That's
Cafe
right.
in downtown Hazleton on Main Street.
And she refused to retire. She said, this is what I've done. People count on me. I'm going to continue to do the job. Oh, 0-2 the count on Javier BAEZ. Martinez would love a double play. And it's a base hit into right field. Again, an 0-2 pitch. That's at least 3 base hits on an 0-2 count.
That is 3, including that tapper down the third baseline. You can't do anything about that. That was a hanging breaking ball from Martinez. He got under it. Inside outed by BAEZ. Very strong, but naturally following a walk.
They start to get loose in the Cardinals pen. That's Maine is throwing. Who else?
Cardinal fans may know that Mike Matheny went to the University of Michigan. Joe Madden went to Lafayette University.
First pitch to David Ross.
That's in Easton, Pennsylvania. And he went for 3.5 years. And I said, did you get your degree? He said, I went back in the January of 2010. I got my degree. He said, as a matter of fact, I'm Dr. Joe Madden. So you can refer to me as Dr. Madden. So Dr. Madden, a real challenge with his Cubs for the Cardinals here. Dr. Madden, there he is. It's very funny.
It's great. 0-2. Popped up off the bat of Ross. This could be trouble. Hayward in foul territory makes the catch. Nice play. Jason Hayward had a long way to go.
I was thinking the same thing. Boy, he got to protect against Ross's power. Playing him rather deep, not real deep.
Cardinal fans, did you know the StubHub app is personalized just for you? Now, with the StubHub app, you can select your favorite teams and artists and discover new ones too. Start at StubHub and let the fun find you. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your St. Louis Cardinals. 2 on, 2 out. Here's John Lester. Lined out to short and is single to left. And the first pitch is taken for a strike. Trying to pick up strikeout number 8. The 1-2, strikeout number 8. Cubs strand 2. They have left 8 on. Midway through 5, 3-1 Chicago. September 25th, the Cardinals take on the Milwaukee Brewers. Stay in your seat after the game and watch a dazzling fireworks display with the Gateway Arch as the backdrop. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Big crowd on hand. What has been a tough series for the faithful of St. Louis. Cardinals have Molina, Moss, and Reynolds. You slip away, a little hooky from work. Why not? Here's Yadier Molina. Lester has sent down 11 straight. Two balls and no strikes as Lester not happy with that last call. If you've just joined us, the Cubs picked up 2 in the top of the first. Cardinals came back with a run of their own. Chicago picked up a run in the second. They lead it 3-1. Upcoming road trip for the Cardinals: Cincinnati, Milwaukee, and Chicago. Then we'll have the final homestand of the season with Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Wrap it up on the road, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. It's off to the playoffs. (3-1) yanked foul. Okay, you look at this schedule, and I know that you always are leery of this. When you look at teams that you say, wow, you've got Cincinnati, you've got Milwaukee, a bunch coming up. The road a little easier.
Yeah, just ask the Pirates about Milwaukee.
Sure.
First game in Cincinnati, they lost.
And it's a walk.
What's their record in Milwaukee? I think 5-13 this year. Something
Might
like
even be
that.
worse than that.
Yeah.
Once again, it'll be Al Raboski and Rick Horton with the call on Fox Sports Midwest as we head to Cincinnati. Jaime Garcia, 8-4, gets the call. 1.89 ERA for Jaime. Lamb will go for Cincinnati. Rick and Al will have it for you at 5:30. Budweiser, what's on tap? Brandon Moss could tie it up with one swing of the bat. Very good homestand for him. He's now up to 19 home runs this year.
It's deceptive when you look at some of the Cardinal games when they don't score a lot of runs. But what they presented offensively has been sporadic hitting. They're not bunching their hits and walks. That's how you score multi-runs. That's what they need right now with Molina on, leadoff batter on. Get a leadoff batter on, your second place hitter becomes very, very important in whether you're going to score multi-runs or not.
First base runner for the Cardinals since the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Moss with a high fly ball. Left center. And the catch is made by Kyle Schwarber. Only 2 hits here today. Triple by Carpenter, first batter of the game for the Cardinals. Single by Hayward up the middle. And after that, John Lester has dominated this lineup.
1 walk since the Hayward single, and that has been it.
5 strikeouts on the afternoon. Reynolds grounded out to third. Get the feeling that may be it for Carlos Martinez. We'll see how the Cardinals want to play it, but certainly if they get Reynolds aboard, you think about pinch hitting for Martinez here in the bottom of the 5th. St. Louis has had activity in their pen, and as we say that, Tommy Pham is at the on-deck circle.
I think Mike Matheny forced to do that.
Good pitch in on the hands of Reynolds. Going back to your point with Lester, he's able to get in on these righties.
Occasionally the cutter on the outside, but for the most part he has lived inside today on right-handed hitters. And interestingly, the only 2 hits by left-handed hitters of the Cardinals, Carpenter and Hayward.
Maine is getting loose in the pen, so he'll be set for the 6th inning. 1-2 pitch to Mark Reynolds. One thing you notice about John Lester, just nothing over the middle of the plate, in and out.
No, that's the secret of his success. No real off-speed pitches, no change-ups, no curve balls that bounce in front of the plate.
The 2-2. That late movement and a strikeout of Reynolds.
Well, that was one right there. A curveball that bounced on the plate. Mark Reynolds couldn't hold up. Totally fooled. Think about, in your experience, Dan, your 18th year with the Cardinals and the whole bit, what is the percentage of swinging strikeouts that were strikes?
Not many. I'm saying that
probably close to 70% swinging strikeouts are on balls out of the strike zone.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. The reason is it's pretty simple. Major League Baseball players are designed to hit balls in the strike zone. Jim Palmer had the greatest explanation of pitching. Strike one and then expand the strike zone. Get hitters out on balls.
I may not have answered your question properly, but I
know
exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
You just don't see guys swinging through many strikes. I mean, and if they do,
occasionally a guy who's trying to leave his feet and leave the yard or something like that on a 2-0, 3-1 fastball.
Lifted down the right field line, and the catch is made, and what a catch it is in right field by COGHLAN. Holds on for the out. Tremendous catch, Chris COGHLAN in right field. What a play that was.
Limping toward the Cub dugout, but that was some play. You're right, Dan. Great call. Like his right knee hammered into the harder part of that protection down on the right field line.
3 cities, Cincinnati, Milwaukee, and Chicago. It's Ken Hitchcock with his coaching staff as the St. Louis Blues gear up for another season of hockey. Kirk Muller, Ray Bennett, Brad Shaw, and Jim Corsi. The assistants are all in attendance with Coach Hitch. He's back for another season.
And naturally, no Brett Hull, and you have not introduced me yet to Brett Hull.
I'm trying.
It's
I really
been a
am.
Feeble. No, you're not.
I did.
It's a feeble effort on your part. You have connections with the Blues ownership. I should have met Brett Hull by this time. You had the whole season to introduce me to him.
All right, here's the deal.
Nothing. Nothing from you. Nothing.
Here's the deal. You come back in the cold winter months and take in a weekend here in St. Louis, take you to a Blues game, we will meet Brett Hull.
Oh, I've got to go to a Blues game. I've got to come up here from Florida to go to a Blues game.
Oh, so you're saying that you don't want to go to a Blues game, huh?
No, I didn't
what you're
say
saying.
that. No, I did not.
That's what you're saying.
I said that I would have preferred to have met Brett Hull here in the warmth and comfort of our booth. I don't know, I feel more secure, I think. Instead of going into an arena in which I've never been, you know, it's like a colder.
Are you scared?
Well, kind of, yeah.
No.
I mean, it's Brett Hull.
Man up and show up.
I'll give that serious consideration. I'm not kidding. I will. Maybe in November sometime.
Tell you what, I'm very disappointed in your behavior today. Let's just put it that way. Manus has gotten the first 2.
My behavior, it covers a wider gamut than I thought you'd enter.
Now, Brett was, when you really wanted to meet him, you said during the Washington series, which was last week.
Right.
So I
said it before then. I said it earlier.
You may have, you may not have.
Dismissed me.
Semantics. You know, the truck is backing you too. And they're a bunch of liars as well.
They're backing me because it's the truth. I mean, Brett Hull is revered in this town, revered in the world of hockey, for crying out loud.
What are you trying to tell me something I don't know here?
Well, you act like you don't know. I'll drop it. I'll drop it. Just consider it never happened.
You want to hug it out?
No, I don't. No man hugs for me. They're all phony anyway. It's like telling somebody good luck. Nobody has ever said good luck and meant it. Ever.
Really?
That's correct.
That's a fact.
That's my theory. Based on years of experience, nobody has ever said good luck and meant it. I told Joe Madden that today. He said, you're right. Joe Madden agrees with it.
Well, Tim McCarver, we'll try to get you a visit with Brett Hull. Good luck. 6:26. Tim has lost his mind. Make sure you get your bobblehead. Yeah, tradition meets today. I'll tell you what.
What?
You've gone off the deep end.
Well, big deal. Done that before. Good luck on that one.
Wait a minute. So if you said to John Lester after the 8th, John, great game today, good luck the rest of the way. Little pat on the back.
I wouldn't say that. I don't say good luck to anybody.
Just said good luck on that one. I mean, I'm just saying.
No.
Okay. Carpenter, Piscotty, and Hayward. Cardinals have had one base runner since the first inning against John Lester. 3-1 Chicago. That late movement again. That's the second time we've seen that with Carpenter, that check swing.
And you don't see that much from Matt. Matt either clearly takes or clearly swings. Not many check swings.
Chris Denorfia, by the way, takes over in left field for Schwarber, who struck out 4 times today. That swung on and missed, and Lester with 7 strikeouts. The way Lester is going, you would just wonder, there's someone in this lineup in the back of their mind. Are they thinking about bunting against John Lester? Just try to get something going?
Certainly a valid point. I don't think we've seen Stephen Piscotty attempt to bunt a drag bunt since he's been. I don't remember.
I don't either.
Him doing that.
The Cardinals have used the number 2 spot in the lineup. Not as your, I guess, your traditional type hitter. You know, a guy that's going to bunt somebody over, maybe, those kind of guys. It's more been, let's get some damage out of the number 2 spot. Power hitters have occupied this spot. The 1-1. 1-2. He's got the Cardinals guessing right now.
Inside, outside, inside, outside.
He is locked in. Piscotty is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Grounds it to second base. We saw the Cubs, John Lester, opening night at Wrigley Field. The big question was, what would Jason Hayward do against left-handed pitching this season? This is our lows never stop improving in the last 5 seasons against lefties. Tough year at 14, 169. This year at 270. There's a base hit and the lone RBI today for the Cardinals. That was back in the first inning. Lester trying to improve his overall record at 10-10. 2 outs, nobody on. A 2-0 pitch to Jason Hayward. This is the 9th game of the homestand, and if you tally them up, the Cardinals have struck out 75 times.
A little over 8 per game.
And today, right at that average, just about, was 7 against Lester.
The last 32 2/3 innings, the Cardinals have scored in 3 different innings. That's it.
The 2-2 to Jason Heyward. And a fly ball lifted out to left center field. Fowler wants it and has it. Again, a 1-2-3 inning for John Lester. Cubs on top as we head to the 7th. It's 3-1. All right, AT&T, U-verse rewind. They've done just about everything right. From their starting pitching to the bats coming alive, the home runs, and a little defensive on the way. That was Chris COGHLAN. Terrific catch in right earlier in our game. After today, 23 games remaining, and the Cardinals could have a lead before it's all said and done. After tonight, up 3.5 over Pittsburgh with 23 to play. 5.5 in front of Chicago. It's a race now.
Well, the Cardinals have 9 outs to score at least 2 runs while holding the Cubs to no runs, and that in itself has been a big chore for Cardinal pitching in these 3 games.
Third pitcher used, Kevin Segrist. Austin Jackson will be the pinch hitter. So Jackson pinch hitting for COGHLAN, and Tim noticed after he made that catch that we just showed moments ago, he was limping towards the dugout. You wonder if that's acted up on him a little bit. Get him out of this game, and Jackson, who started in game 2, pinch hits.
He slammed into that fence pretty hard.
Rizzo on deck, and then La Stella. 0-2 the count. '69th appearance for Kevin Segrist, and our Chevy call to the pen. Get a look at his numbers this year. And time is called. You look at the lines of Carlos Martinez now in his last 5 starts. On an 0-2 pitch, it's hit to second baseman Matt Carpenter, and he has not been sharp, Tim. He wasn't sharp here today again. Mazda game summary, so take a look at what's happened this afternoon. Lester's 6 innings. Rizzo 1 for 3 with a double RBI. Carlos Martinez 5 innings, 10 hits. 3 of those coming on 0-2 pitches. And yeah, Matt Carpenter is 1 for 3 with a triple and a run scored.
The thing about this 3-game series is how impressive the Cubs were in coming right out of the chute. I mean, they have not given the Cardinals starters a chance to breathe. 8 runs in the first game, 6 last night, 3 in the first 2 innings this afternoon. So the Cubs and Joe Madden not waiting around. They have, from the get-go, taking it to the Cardinals.
A 1 pitch to Anthony Rizzo. Ground ball hit to the right side. And Moss steps on the bag for out number 2. Two outs, nobody on, and the pitch is taken high. Al Hrabosky just came in the booth, Tim, and showed us something that is a bit disturbing, I think.
It is disturbing.
Al asking us to sign all the baseball for charity, and there was a signature I did not recognize.
I didn't either.
But I guess when you get to the big leagues, you don't need to sign your name to where it's legible.
Not when you're a star.
And
it's expected that when the star signs that people should know who it is.
We saw Jim Hayes' autograph on that ball. By the way, prominently displayed in bigger than your autograph. Al's, Ricky's, Mike Shannon's. Well, he's a star. I mean, there's okay. I mean, there's nothing else we can do about it. He's a star.
Here's how he signed his name. J, capital J, huge letter, capital H. As though somebody's going to know who that is.
I can't believe you guys are calling me out. First, I'm surprised that Al can spell at all. I said it.
Al didn't spell it.
He pointed it out.
Nothing to do with Al. This has everything to do with you.
He knows what a JH means.
Al asked me to sign. I said, sure. Where? He told me where, and I signed. That's my signature. Now, of course, Dan, I'll be inspecting your signature to make sure it's legible at all times.
Very legible. Ground ball and a base hit. Starlin Castro. The Hyundai pitch arsenal for left-hander Kevin Segrist. A 2-out hit for Castro, who's pinch hitting for La Stella, and it brings in Javier Baez.
Hall of Famer Al Kaline used to sign his name Al, capital K, and then a line. But he was a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows who Al Kaline was. J.H. What? John Hancock?
Ridiculous.
I'm famous for getting takeout in San Francisco. That's my claim to fame.
And decided to head down the street. Couldn't believe it.
John Miller doing the Giants, who are having a tough time nowadays too. Dan does killer impersonations of both Vin Scully and John Miller. Hilarious.
Vin heard, unbeknownst to me, the impersonation of Vin. Remember, we were in LA.
Vin heard, yes, since we were right next door. Vin was none too happy with you on that.
Oh, he was very pleased. Probably words that you wouldn't necessarily hear him say.
No.
However,
tough world out there.
Hey, you know, 2-1 the count. We asked Jim for a pick and an autograph earlier in this homestand. Still haven't gotten that either, Tim. Nor the Brett Hall visit. 2-2. Cardinals have been out hit in this game 11-2.
Yeah, the reason we saw a little levity, I think that's what the Cardinals need right now. Step back and laugh.
Maybe going on the road won't be the worst thing for them.
Yeah. Saw Randall Grichuk with that huge smile after last night's 2-run home run against Jason Hamill. It's tough to laugh when it's not funny the way you're playing or the lack of production.
Starlin Castro will be off with his pitch. 2 outs in the count of 3-2. BAEZ a pair of base hits to go along with a strikeout. 3-2 pitch. Time to stretch. Day baseball, the Cubs and the Cardinals. Chicago looking for a sweep as Segrist puts together a scoreless top of the 7th here at Busch Stadium. Cardinals player hits a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Austin Jackson stays in the game after grounding out to second. And Starlin Castro does as well after his base hit to left. Well, John Lester, part of the story and a big part of it for the Chicago Cubs here today. Lester gave up 2 hits in the first, and since then, no hits allowed. He has walked 1. He has struck out 7 on the day. 92 pitches. His spot is due up second, looking at the top of the 8th. But boy, has Lester been good today. Peralta, Grichuk, Molina for St. Louis. Trying to get anything going offensively. Broken bat. On a hop to short. Undoubtedly, this has been one of the best outings for John Lester this year.
Certainly against the Cardinals in a long time. Cardinals have given him fits. Not today, so far. It's funny how this game, all the action happened in the first inning and a half. 2 runs with it for the Cubs in the top of the first, 1 in the second, and 1 run for the Cardinals in the bottom of the first. 1 base runner since the first for St. Louis.
That was a walk in the 5th. There's Randall Grichuk, 0 for 2 today with a pair of strikeouts. I mean, it's all the things you hear, but it's so true. It's cliche, but it's in, out, keeping hitters off balance, changing speeds, late movement. He's done that all today.
Very little change of speeds. Occasionally. Curveball. No change-ups. Cut her in, cut her out.
The 1-1.
A rare curveball.
2-1. Right field for out number 2. Won a great deal on Cardinals tickets. Fill up at Phillips 66 with 8 gallons or more. Now until September 24th. You'll receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Molina 0 for 1 with a walk. Talked a lot early in the game about if you get on base against John Lester, steal. And in terms of catching base stealers, Arquilla in the driver's seat, fewest stolen bases allowed. The Cardinals 41 this year. Thanks in large part to number 4. 0-2 the count. Way that Lester is cruising through this game. Even though you have a deep bullpen, plenty of bodies on the bench, Lester due up second. He gets Molina here. No reason to think he wouldn't be back out for the 8th.
Yeah. Cubs have activity in the bullpen. I don't know. So much is hinging on. I'll tell you what. If Lester is pinch hit for in the top of the 8th inning, the Cardinals are going, thank you very much, Joe Maddon.
That's my point. Get this guy out. He has been great here today.
Cardinals would applaud that decision.
The 1-2. I mean, right there is a great example of what you were talking about earlier. A 2-strike pitch that's off the plate slightly.
If he gets a hit, if he makes contact, it's going to be a ball that he reaches for.
Two.
On cue, Joe Maddon reaching for his scorecard.
The 2-2. Pulled foul. And the information at the fingertips of the managers, it's incredible. What they do in certain situations, 15-pitch increments, what happens past the 7th, on and on and on and on. Molina hit that ball off the end of the bat, and apparently it cracked. He didn't know it. Wow. I've never seen that. Where he didn't realize it was cracked and that happened.
No, I've never seen that either.
The 2-2. Again, only one walk today issued by John Lester. 3-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Popped up. That'll send us to the 8th. 3-1 Chicago.
go to our studio with this Bomberito Sports Update.
Jonathan Broxton, appearance number 56 at our Chevy call to the pen. For Tim McCarver, this is his final home game of this season, and then we have one more game left in Chicago.
A week from Sunday, yep. All right, it's pretty clear with Chris Bryant coming to the on-deck circle, you're going to take John Lester out of the game. Why not remove David Ross also? He leads it off. You've got a left-handed bat, Miguel Montero, on the bench. He can hit 15 home runs. I don't get that.
Makes sense.
We've already committed to Bryant. He's on deck. So Lester's definitely coming out of the game. Ross, while he's caught a good game, only catches John Lester, for that matter.
I think all of us at Fox Sports Midwest are very proud that you've completed your internship. Glad to get you some experience.
Cut it out.
You'll be well on your way in this business, young Tim.
Go back for my degree.
Broxton gets the strikeout. Plaza Tires Fox Tracks. Strikeout for Jonathan Broxton. Any forms I need to sign, young man? Or is there anything I need to do here for you as we send you out into the real world?
Tell my future employees that I was future employers that I was always on time. I tried to smile. I tried to do my homework. Thank you for your help.
We're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Trying to give you a little experience.
Thank you.
Here's Jonathan Herrera, the switch hitter. Strike one.
Ain't kidding around with that, but we got a lot of interns that with whom we work do such a great job. It's a great way of getting experience in the world, going to college, and then maybe doing a summer with the Cardinals. It's fun.
One and one on Herrera.
On a serious note, I would like to thank all the men and women on the crew and the truck. Done such a good job in making us look as good as they can.
Tough job.
Yes, it is.
It's pulled foul. Very fortunate, as you found out over the years coming through St. Louis. Great crew that understands the game, loves the game, puts a lot of time and effort, long hours here at the ballpark. We appreciate it. One ball, two strikes on the pinch hitter Herrera. Our crowd today, 43,557, 43,557. John Lester, magnificent in this start. 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, walked 1, struck out 7, 105 pitches. Good start for Broxton. Back-to-back strikeouts. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag MW Data Strong Fan. A gentleman with Hungo. That pitch taken just a bit low by Addison Russell. 1-1 pitch. Popped foul and out of play. Cardinals will have Moss, Reynolds, pinch hitter due up. Pedro Strop getting loose in the Cubs pen. This Cubs team is red hot. Since July 28th, 28 wins, second to only Toronto. They have 29. Averaging over 5 runs a game. The team ERA for Chicago, 8th best in that time period. So 28-11 since the 28th of July. The 2-2 pitch. Hold foul.
Slider backed up a little bit. Not that diving action, but Jonathan does appear to have very good stuff this afternoon.
The 2-2. Strikeout for Broxton. Scoreless top of the 8th, so the bullpen has done a very nice job for the Cardinals here this afternoon. Can they come back? It's 3-1. '66th appearance. You saw him pitch in game 2 of the series. Had some issues, part of that 5-run 7th for the Cardinals, but he was able to get out of it. Bullpen made it hold up, picked up a win, and now he'll deal with a 2-run lead in relief of John Lester, who is magnificent here today. And Brandon Moss will lead it off in the home half of the 8th.
Joe Madden rarely will criticize his pitchers publicly, but he said he was very disappointed in Strop's pitch selection last night.
A fly ball into shallow right center, caught by Fowler.
Specifically to Steven Piscotty, who drove in runs 4 and 5 for the Cardinals, their last 2 runs. I beg your pardon, the 3rd and 4th runs in their 5-run 5th last night. And Joe said, I will never, to a right-handed batter, I will never say anything untoward toward Pedro Strop if he throws a slider at any time. He's got one of the better sliders around, but a 2-strike fastball to a guy like Piscotty, I don't like that.
And you can understand why.
Oh, yeah. But Joe choosing his words very carefully and understandably.
Strop has had his issues in 8 games this season against the Cardinals. 5 innings, 8 hits, ERA over 12. Cardinals have hit .364 against him. 2 balls, no strikes on Reynolds. Greg Garcia is at the on deck circle. It's 2-1. That's what Joe was saying to both of us too about his bullpen. He said, I love what's going on with my offense. The young players are coming of age. Bullpen, we're still figuring it out.
Of course, Strop with 4 straight fastballs to Reynolds because he's fallen behind. Mark will get another fastball here. He said, but with the count 0-2, 1-2, when you're ahead in the count, throw the slider.
And he walked him. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. And the content descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. You know, if Joe Maddon 1-2 here, he'd go to his bullpen. He's got the lefty Richard throwing, and you're going to deal with Carpenter as well. Bring him in to face 2 lefties. You've got Rodney out there in case things get out of control. And that's a base hit into right. Greg Garcia, what a job he's done.
Well, he's done a job on Strop before. He was the one who hit that first pinch hit, not grand slam, but solo home run against Strop earlier to tie a game in the 8th inning. Cardinals ended up winning that game. So the wildness by Strop, that leads to a base hit. And I think your point is right on the button. At 2 left-handers right in a row, you make Mike Matheny use a right-handed hitter.
It'll be the lefty Richard coming on to face Carpenter. Not done yet. Three to 1 Chicago. 2 runners on for St. Louis. Matt Carpenter will be the hitter against Clayton Richard.
Danny faced Richard in last night's game, popped out to third base, couldn't get around on a fastball. Richard threw 1 pitch to retire Matt Carpenter. One of the more important at-bats of the season for any Cardinal.
Pete Cosmo will pinch run for Mark Reynolds, so his day is through. They're drawing the walk. Base hit by Greg Garcia. So pretty good speed out there. Carpenter 3 for 9 with a home run and double against Richard in his career. By the way, that was Garcia's 8th pinch hit, limited time. That leads the team.
Wow.
Making a case to be on the postseason roster. 2 on, 1 out. Strike 1 to Carpenter. He struck out twice. He has also tripled. Oh, 1 pitch.
Richard keeps throwing that ball away from Carpenter and not coming in on him. Matt can shoot that ball down the left field line. He's very good at doing that, particularly against left-handed pitching.
The Cardinals closer, Rosenthal, getting loose in the pen. This becomes a big pitch in this game on 2-1. The 2-1. Carpenter rips it into center. Kozma being waved home. He will score. And it's 3-2 Chicago.
Pete Kozma scoring as the pinch runner. Makes it a 3-2 game. Garcia stops at second. A huge hit from Matt Carpenter.
Fernando Rodney was outstanding last night in the 8th inning. Really good changeup that we saw, and he was on. He was right. Will that be the case today? Stephen Piscotty coming up with the game on the line. By Budweiser, make a plan to make it home. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. The Ozzie Smith statue right outside the ballpark on Clark Street. And now Stephen Piscotty against Fernando Rodney. 1 out, runners at first and second. So Chevy called to the pen. 60th appearance for the former closer. Interesting here that Peter Borges pinch runs now at second base, but not at first for Garcia.
We were talking about it between innings and away from the break. Everything under a microscope, every move so important, so vital. But if that move had been made, Borges is on third right now, not second.
First and second, 1 out. Piscotty at the plate. A drive. Right center. This ball is down. Off the wall. 1 run will score. Here comes another. Piscotty, the rookie, delivers. St. Louis on top here in the 8th.
happiest that dugout has been in 7 days. First ball hitting. One of the more impressive things about Stephen Piscotty, he doesn't wait. Jump now, fastball, outside part of the plate, hammered to center field. Fowler can't catch up to it. And for the first time in this series, the Cardinals have the lead.
Just wakes everything up, doesn't it?
Oh, my gosh. Echoing through the streets of Philadelphia. Echoing through the streets of St. Louis. I can almost hear you in Philadelphia.
7th blown save for Rodney, most in the major leagues, with Jim Johnson of the Dodgers.
Man, what a key hit.
Depending on how this winds up, you look back at moments in the season, could turn out to be one of the biggest hits of the year.
No doubt about it.
Stephen Piscotty. 2-0 the count on Hayward.
I mean, you look at the topsy-turvy of the innings. You talked about Borges in the top of the 8th inning. Broxton pitching to David Ross. Normally it'd be Montero in there. That's for the Cubs. Ross struck out. Pinch hitted Herrera. Had Chris Bryant on deck. Herrera struck out. And then Addison Russell struck out.
3-0. And he walked him.
The moves of a major league manager in these types of games in September for 2 contenders.
Magnified.
Oh my gosh.
And now it's Johnny Peralta. First and second. 1 out. Here's Peralta. Over a month since his last home run. 1 for 22 against Fernando Rodney. Nice play by Ross to keep that in front.
Dan, you got to look ahead of the top of the 9th. You got to take Grichuk out of the game. He's on deck, and unless Peralta hits into a double play, Grichuk will hit. Perfect spot for Matheny to put the pitcher in Grichuk's spot and then leave Borges in the game.
The 1-1.
That would be the first time that I can remember where Grichuk would have been taken out for defense
Most
in his career. Because usually he's the guy replacing somebody defensively. But because of his inability to throw, you got to get him out of there.
Peralta reaching for it, and a fly ball into right. Piscotty stays at the bag at second. 2 outs. And here is Randall Grichuk. Boy, in a day that John Lester was as good as he can be.
Dominated.
Takes a no decision. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Do you press the issue with John Lester? 105 pitches. I'll be honest, I'm surprised he's out. Just because the importance of the game and that there weren't innings that were high leverage. I mean, these are 1, 2, 3 innings throughout the afternoon.
But, you know, we're like spitting in the wind. In this day and age, it does not happen. The new mortal sin in baseball, allowing a pitcher to go past 105 pitches. It's ridiculous, but that's the way it is.
The 1-1. It's a big run out there at second base. Piscotty, your runner. Hayward, the runner at first base. 2-1 the count. Grichuk is 0 for 3 today. He's fly to right. Also struck out twice. Returning to the active roster. Pinch ran the other day. Pinch hit yesterday. Hit a 2-run homer. 2 on, 2 outs, and a 2-2. The Cardinals pick up 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Their first lead in this series. The reaction of Matt Carpenter, who drove in a run in this big 8th inning. Stephen Piscotty as the rookie delivered. Rosenthal coming on. 4-3 St. Louis. .43 St. Louis. 2 of the biggest hits this season have come against the Cubs. Johnny Peralta, Cardinals down to their final strike. And moments ago, especially if the Cardinals hold on, the rookie Stephen Piscotty against the veteran Fernando Rodney. A double that scores 2. And the first lead for the Cardinals in this 3-game series. It's the most emotion we've seen from Piscotty all year.
Yep, right.
With the way this game was going, the way the series had been going,
the way this team has been playing,
huge.
The departments that have been not good: pitching, hitting, fielding.
Chevy called to the pen. Rosenthal 42 of 44 in saves. Dexter Fowler at the plate, 17 home runs. And the 0-2. Got him with a strikeout at 97. The changes for the Cardinals. Rosenthal, your pitcher. Borges stays in the game at center. Cosma is at second base, stays in the game. Carpenter shifting to third.
Good fastball from Rosenthal.
And Trevor, his last 10 games against the Cubs, 10 2/3, a 0 ERA, 9 for 9 in save opportunities. Chris Denorfia with 1 out, nobody on. Strike 1. If Rosenthal can pick up the save, he'd be tied with Mark Melancon atop the National League save leaderboard with 43. That pitch at 99. 1 ball, 1 strike. We saw him Saturday talking with Mike Matheny, trying to be 29 pitches to pick up the save. Talked about throwing to his pull side. He was just pulling everything towards the glove side and really pulling off the plate.
That was a changeup right there.
So in essence, mechanically, just a slight tick off. 2-1. Ground ball hit to short. 2 down. Let's turn to our Budweiser player of the game. Stephen Piscotty with a 2-run double in the 8th. You think about the importance of this game. Chicago, if they win, they're 5.5 back, instead 7.5 with 23 to go. Big difference.
Pirates playing tonight in Cincinnati.
Austin Jackson at the plate.
I hope Trevor is thinking that. Of course, hopes and wishes don't do any good, but if this guy's going to beat you, he cannot beat you on an off-speed pitch. Got to be that 98-mile-an-hour fastball.
Ground ball to second base. A dramatic win for the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis with 88 wins. The Cubs now 7.5 back of the Cardinals.
Like Lazarus, the Cardinals rise to win one of the most important games of the season.